So to make sure that the picked image is not just shown as a preview here, but instead also uploaded when we submit this form, so once we click sign up here, we first of all have to make sure that this picked image, which we got through the image picker package, is communicated to this form that in the end stores all these inputs and all these input values. And to make that work here in the auth.dart file, we should first of all go up here where we define all these properties. And here, besides storing my entered email, entered password, and so on, I'll also add another variable, which will be of type file, and which initially at least will be null, and therefore I add this question mark, which will be named selected image, or anything like this. Now, of course, for this file type to be available, we again have to add this import to Dart.io. With that, we got this variable in the auth screen state, and that should now be set whenever we pick a new image in our user image picker. Therefore, to communicate from that widget to the parent widget that contains this widget here, we'll use the same approach as we did multiple times in this course already. We can add a new property to the user image picker, which will be a function that returns nothing, but that actually should take one input value, one parameter, and this argument will be of type file, and I'll name it picked image here, and I'll name the property on pick image. The name, of course, is up to you, but this property should now be set whenever this user image picker class is instantiated. Hence, I add a required named parameter here. Alternatively, you could, of course, also use a positional parameter, but here I'll use a named one on pick image. And then with that added here inside of the underscore pick image method in the user image picker state, after updating our preview, we can reach out to the connected widget through that special widget property, and then there call on pick image to execute that function that we are receiving as an argument here. And to that function, we should pass such a file object. So here I'll pass my picked image file as a value to on pick image, and add an exclamation mark here to make it very clear that here this will not be null, because we're setting it here in the line before calling on pick image. So therefore now with this added in auth.dart, we can go to the user image picker widget here and add this newly added on pick image argument to this constructor function call, and then either point at some method which we define separately, or we add an anonymous function here, which is what I'll do, where we receive that picked image that's controlled from inside this widget, and where we then set selected image equal to the picked image. And that's how we get hold of that picked image in this form here. Now in the submit method, I now want to add one extra validation check. We are checking all these inputs, but now we also have to manually check whether such an image was set. However, we of course only want to check the existence of such an image if we are in sign-up mode, because when we're logging in, no image is required. So therefore here we can add an extra if statement where we can check whether we're not in login mode, and selected image is equal null. So we're in sign up mode, but we got no image. If that's the case, I also want to return here. And we also might want to show an error message, just as we might want to do it in this check. Of course, we can also combine all these checks and add the OR operator here, so that here we return if all these form inputs are not valid, or if we are in login mode and the selected image is null. So then we could just use one instead of two if statements. Either way, I want to return and possibly also show an error message if we wanted to. Here, I'll not do it to save some time. And therefore, if we make it past this if check, we know that we have valid inputs. And in case the user is signing up, that then also means that we have a selected image. And therefore now as a next step, we of course want to upload that selected image.